My promise, by the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly how something extremely small and seemingly insignificant may compound long term and have a massive detrimental effect on you achieving your goals. This video is going to be specific. We're going to use fruit as an example. All right? So the plan for the video is I'm going to take you through a full robust process in which I use when I onboard my athletes on a longevity program, and how this scenario could massively impede one of them achieving their results. So I'm going to take you through how to conduct a calorie calculator for yourself. We're going to go through some absolutely hilarious misconceptions that are floating around the health and fitness industry regarding fruit. Pros and cons of high calorie fruits. While we're there, we may as well visit it as well, because it's not all doom and gloom, let's be honest. However, it's important to understand you may be eating them and it may be causing a huge con in you achieving your goals. The reality of the calories and stuff like that, and what I prescribe to one of my athletes. I'll show you on there. I'll show you their meal plan as well. Does that sound all right? If that sounds all right, you know, strap in. This video is going to take about 15 minutes. It's going to be short and sharp, straight to the point, and it's going to be hilarious because I'm going to really bring to life how something tiny, like for example milk, for example yogurt, for example bananas, all of these things that you may have without even second thought because they're healthy. Anyway, before I get into that, my name is Paul Green. For those of you that have just joined onto the Longevity Strength Coach channel, I used to be a paratrooper and I trained recruits joining into the parachute regiment, and I used to be a special forces support group operator, and where I spent most of my time in the physical training space, training those of all ages, all shapes and sizes, lots of different injuries and stuff like that to deal with. And one observation I made when I was in that culture, that high performance culture, is that it's usually the men that have the most responsibility, the oldest, and they are usually the fittest within these units, which is very interesting because that's not the case in normal society. It's the people that get older seem to get less and less fit, less and less strong. However, these men in these high performance environments still hold themselves accountable because they are required to lead, problem solve in high stress environments. So that brings me on to my current full-time job, which is, I'm just going to pause these, which is the longevity program, which is a laser focused strength and conditioning service, fully online, for men over the age of 40. However, I do take on men that are a little bit younger than the age of 40 because it's entirely up to them. If they feel like they're old and crusty, then I have got, you know, a lot of valuable experience and expertise that I can push onto them. So men of injuries, certain injuries, men that are fully fit. This guy's got a rotator cuff issue. This guy is an absolute machine. He wants to gain weight. Hamstring injury, warped shoulder, no injuries, shoulder impingement, no injuries, knee injury and shoulder injury, rotator cuff, knee injury, that stops him from sprinting. Anyway, you get the idea. I am not scared to train men that have limitations. So that brings me to the longevity program, which looks something like this. It's a 36-week training block, which is split up into 3 training blocks. Fundamentals, where we focus on strengthening the fundamental strength of the joints. We zoom out a little bit on the resilience block and make the joints resilient. And then we start applying athleticism to the mix. No matter of age, we follow this cycle. Anyway, let's go to reality. Bring it back to reality now. Talk about the fruit again. And we talk about small things that may impede your meal plan and impede you getting the results in which you desire. For example, weight management, weight loss in particular. So we have a client here who sent me his photo on day 1, and I use that photo to estimate his body fat percentage, and he sends me a scale weight. These are 2 data points in which are critical for me to move forward with creating his meal plan. We'll go on to the meal plan later on. However, if we look at this photo, I'll just go forward as well, we can kind of make the guess, we can kind of make the assumption, and this is all guesswork, whether you do skin fold calipers, whether you do one of them little electric scans or whatever it is on them scales, it's all estimations. So when we add together a few different data points, we can actually make a very sensible, educated guess. Now, if you look at this, 20%, probably a bit bigger than 20%. So I'll probably go a little bit less than 25. But to be conservative, when you're doing a friggin' meal plan, a calorie calculator for yourself, it's always best to err on the side of caution. Now I could say, all right, he's not 25. However, he's not far off, right? So I would probably say about 23, 24. But I will err on the side of caution and I will be conservative in my estimates. So I would say 25% there. And you're probably thinking, why the hell am I talking about body fat when I'm talking about fruit? Trust me, this is all going to be wrapped up nicely and it's going to be specific to the point that I made at the start. 25%. So then what do? We go onto calorie calculator. We have this client who is the age of 51-year-old. Metabolism starts to slow down slightly and the amount of calories you burn at rest slows down. Height 175, weight 104, and he is fairly active, right? So this will then generate extra calories into the equation based off how active you are. Now this is how much training you're doing, strength training, whether it be your hobbies plus your job as well. Again, like I alluded to earlier on, it's very important that you err on the side of caution when you are putting the, oh yeah, I do very intense training. Do you really do very intense training or a very physical job? However, this individual does work 4 days per week in a fairly intense job. He trains 3 times a week, very intensely, but still, daily exercise or intense exercise 3 to 4 times a week. I wanted to err on the side of caution with this, so I went active. Yeah? I calculated this, and then we get these figures here. Now, whenever somebody, he had a weight loss goal as well, just for your awareness. This is the start. This is basically doing a calorie calculator, and it's very important that you do this if you have a weight loss mission. You can guess, but data drives decisions, and this data is your start point. For example, if his maintenance is 2920, I would take that number and go, okay, Mr. Client, you will maintain your current weight if you eat this much calories. However, I can throw him into this. But just because I fully appreciate and I'm humble enough to know that I'm guessing with my figures, I will look at this number and I will simply take 10% off that number. So I'll start him on 2700 calories. I will then chop this up and put it into a meal plan. The reason we start the calories as high as possible is because, I'll go back to my fancy slides because the numbers, they get boring. And I'll bring up this picture. The reason I keep the calorie intake as high as possible at the start is because I want to maintain high performance in the gym. What do most people do? Most people go, right, I'm on a diet, start the diet, and they literally half their daily calories, and they're on this weight loss mission, crumble, crash and burn after 2 or 3 weeks. Absolutely embarrassing. Think about this logically, right? Take a little snippet off your calories, 10% off your calories to start with, yeah? So week 1, week 2, 10%. And every week you assess the pictures to make sure that they're heading in the right direction. However, every day you weigh yourself. So if the scale is moving down with this new weight plan, this new meal plan and this new training plan, then happy days. But if the weight stays the same week by week, then you make an adjustment. And this is what I call tightening one of the screws. The problem in the fitness industry, or coaches, personal trainers, or people that just run this alone, is they tighten about 5 or 10 screws at once at the same time. And it just causes them to be overwhelmed. And then they just crumble. They just give up. They're at the pub, eating shit, drinking crisp, whatever, shit, absolute shambles, right? However, so this is what I'm saying. Keep it simple for yourself. Start the calories high, and then week by week, if necessary, reduce the calories by 10% if needed. However, sometimes you don't need to, right? Reducing the calories should be the last thing you do. This gentleman in particular, the first thing I did, week 2, still 104, right? I added 20 minutes of mountain biking to his day, and then his weight went down and down and down and down. Anyway, hope you appreciate what I'm saying. So that needs to be done from yourselves. But we talk about fruit, and we're going to talk about fruit because it's stupid. But it's stupid, but it's relevant, and it's important that you understand the concept, the overarching concept behind this. So, misconceptions. Number 1, all fruit is healthy. Now, I'm sure you've heard many people go, oh my God, natural sugars, natural sugars, absolutely unreal. What the hell? What's this fast, right? You've got sugar. It goes into your frigging digestive system. Glucose goes into your bloodstream, goes into your muscles, glycogen, right? It doesn't matter where the frigging sugar's from. It still ends up turning into the same thing. It's fructose, it's lactose, it's glucose. Who gives a shit? It's still sugar. So how can natural sugars be good for you? Like, it's an absolute shambles. It's a mental claim. And I tell you what, the people that say that are fat. Sugars are good for you. Natural sugars are good for you. What are you talking about? Yeah, there's pros and cons to everything, right? There's pros and cons to natural sugars. There's pros and cons to fruit. And another misconception, you can't gain weight from eating fruit, like too much fruit. How the hell does that make sense? Why is fruit on this friggin'... It's just a food. Yes, some fruit is, high in very high in nutrients versus calories. And you've got some fruit that's very low in nutrients, very high in calories. How the hell can you not gain weight from eating fruit? Like, too much fruit. It's ridiculous. So, I'm gonna touch on this one, the last one, right? If you're... Let's say, for example, you watching this video, you've decided to watch this video, and have you maintained the same weight for the past 6 months? Now, if you've maintained that weight for the past 6 months, because let's be honest, number 1, you probably don't weigh yourself every day. If you did, there'd be fluctuations, because are you following a meal plan? If you were following a meal plan, the data would either stay similar, it would maybe move up a touch and move down a touch day by day. If you were following a weight management, whether that be weight gain or weight loss meal plan, the trend should be slightly down. If it's weight loss, it should be slightly up if it's weight gain. Now, if you've maintained, let's say you have 3 bananas per day, right? Which is about 350 calories. Well, let's be realistic. Who the hell has 3 bananas in a day? 2. 2 is a pretty reasonable amount of bananas to be having a day. Let's be fair, right? So you off to work, very happy with yourself. You're eating a banana because a banana's healthy. And you like one before work, or you like one on your lunch break, and you like one after you finish work as well. 250 calories. Now, if we go back to this guy who's on a 2,700 calories per day meal plan based off his scenario, and he's eating 2 bananas a day, if he was to take them bananas away, he would then be on about 2,500 calories per day. And if he's on 2,500 calories per day, that's, 250 less than than his, you know, maintenance, or 250 calories less. So week by week, he's going to be burning like 2,000, like, what is it? 250 times 7, so 1750. He's going to be burning just by not having them 2 bananas, which are healthy. Bananas are healthy, potassium. Just by not having them 2 bananas, he's going to be burning. He's going to be in a 1,750 calorie deficit per week. It sounds so stupid because it is. It's stupid that this is legitimately a thing. And I always say about making small positive changes, apply them long term. And this is something just that can easily catch people out. Hopefully you appreciate the fact that I deeped a little bit diver into that last point. Anyway, right, let's just get into the reality of the situation, right? So these are all per 100 grams. And coconut meat, probably not many people have that. You probably fully appreciate that. Avocados, high in fat. Fat is one of the highest calorie macronutrients. So 160 calories per 100 grams. And again, people will be having avocado and eggs in the morning because they're feeling fancy. Bananas, very, very commonly consumed bananas, and people think they're healthy. If you have too many of them, you're going to be in a calorie surplus. You will gain weight if things are finely balanced. When I prescribe like a weight loss meal plan, and we are into the depths of this meal plan, you can friggin' pretty much guarantee bananas are gone. You can probably pretty much guarantee that all fruit is off limits. And it's obvious why. Because for the most part, right, if you look at these fruits, what is extremely high in nutrients out of these fruits? It's probably the berries, yeah? So you've got decent amount of, like 57 calories, 100 grams. But raspberries, similar. And you've got, I thought there'd be strawberries on here, but there isn't. Very high in nutrients and pretty low in calories. But bananas, 89 calories for one banana. You know, you're having 2 of them. You've got to place them in your day in an extremely effective position. Now, everything should have a purpose. Everything in your meal plan should have a purpose. Yes, and of course you have room for flexibility and stuff like that. But if you're wondering why you're not losing weight, you've got to go through everything. You've got to hold yourself very accountable. I'm going to go to one of the guys' meal plans at the moment. I'll just take you through my rationale behind everything. So we went through the calorie calculator. Hopefully you appreciate this. And the main thing to take away from this, right, is see how it says mild weight loss there? That's kind of what I touched on. 0.25. Just start really conservative because you want to leave yourself with a lot of room to play with. Let's say, what do most people do? They go from maintenance, they do this calorie calculator, and they're like, I want to lose weight before a holiday. Well, stupid, man. And they'll go straight to here, extreme weight loss. How long's that going to last for? And you know what's mental, right? Professional athletes, especially MMA fighters, do this. What do you think their performance looks like? It's absolutely embarrassing. Now, if you just, you know, set yourself a longer goal, 12, 16, 20 weeks, you know, jump on my program, 36 weeks, potentially you can just go, bosh, I'm going to be more sensible about this. I'm going to give myself more energy. I'm going to give myself more fuel, better recovery from sessions, more results from sessions because I'm performing better, because I'm fueled better. Anyway, don't undercut this too much at the start. You can really pull it down towards the end, but not at the start. Make adjustments based off how your body responds to the high performance training program or the high performance meal plan, weight loss, whatever, weight gain. Anyway, so we've got one of the meal plans for the guys here, right? And notice how 150 grams of berries is 86 calories. Like barely any carbs. And do we have any more fruit in here? I think we have more fruit at the end of the day. But just go with mixed berries. Mixed berries, 150 grams twice. That's 300 grams of mixed berries. and you about 150 calories, which is probably the same amount of calories as a large banana. It sounds stupid, right? But the overarching concept of this is pretty obvious. Don't let this catch you out, because it's stupid, and it's stupid because you're not thinking about this logically. You're looking at the data, which is this, and you're not holding yourself fully accountable by doing the meal plan, by taking the photos of yourself, weighing yourself every day. Because it's just a process, it's just maths, it's just numbers. But you have to be sensible at the start. Do you know what I mean? So gentlemen, if you made it this far in the video, thank you very much for watching. We have covered how to conduct a calorie calculator for yourself correctly. Some of the hilarious misconceptions and old wives' tales that you've probably come across that tell you can eat as much fruit as you want. Yeah, you can. But if you're on a weight loss, it's probably not advisable, because it's numbers that you're eating unnecessarily. And if you eat them away from your training sessions, again, it's pointless. If you're consuming 30 grams of carbs on a morning when you train on an evening, pointless. So nutrient timing as well is also very important, but I'll cover that in a different video. We've mentioned, the pros and cons of high calorie fruits, right? Okay, let's go back here, because I didn't mention that. Certain, let's say your demands, say if you're on like a resilience block or athleticism block, or let's say you are high intensity training, you're doing your weight training, and after the gym, you were to consume a banana because to get the calories back into your system, to get the energy, or you were to consume a banana before training, like I touched on just then about nutrient timing. It wouldn't be optimal to have berries and raspberries before you train, because there's not much carbohydrates in them. Is there any? Did I talk about? Yeah, I'll go back to them. Yeah. So back to this meal plan, right? So we've got frozen berries, 86 calories, 16 grams of carbs, and there's a pre-gym. These are the two most important meals of the day, by the way: pre-gym, post-gym meal. Have you noticed how this guy is having 50 grams of carbs before he goes into the gym? Now, if I said to you, big lad, make sure you're having some berries before the gym, carbs low. You need to make sure the carbs are high before the gym session. So how do we bring that back to what I'm talking about here? So if you have a banana before the gym, or 2 bananas before the gym, instead of having that oats and jam, then that would be okay. However, the reason I went with oats and jam is because oats is complex carbohydrates, take a little bit longer to digest. That will fuel you to the latter parts of your gym session, and the jam gives you the boost at the start. If you were just have bananas, instantly digested, you'd have a high for the first 15-20 minutes, and then you'd have a crash. It's not ideal. It's important to get both in, especially if you're training for an hour and a half. Do you know what I mean? So that's a pro and a con of using, these fruits. So with these, with the berries are great because they're low in carbohydrates, and they're not going to affect your blood sugar too much. And you can have these at any point in the day. I don't advise having them around your training session, because they're not going to support. Everything in your meal plan has to have a justification. And I will show you everything here, justification. So we've got 2 meals here. 380 calories, oats, complex carbs, we've got berries, and we've got protein powder. This is just something in his stomach that takes a while to digest. Try and keep hunger at bay, yeah? For the next 2 or 3 hours. This guy, and then meal 2, again, proper simple stuff: rice, chicken, mixed veg. So rice, very simple, easily digested form of carbohydrates. Not really complex carbohydrates, kind of like a medium to medium carbohydrate. Very easy to digest, awesome fuel before the gym. And then we got the pre-gym, like I've touched on earlier on, complex and simple before the gym to support both the start of the workout and the latter parts of the workout. After the gym, just a shake, pretty straightforward. An argument could be made to get sugar into this shake, just to replenish some of the glycogen sauce. Okay, I get it. However, he's straight back home and he's having pasta sauce, which is fairly sugary. It's tomato-y based. and he's getting his carbs with his pasta and stuff like that, and then he's got a little treat afterwards. So you just got to keep it simple, but you've got to really have a good look, a good long hard look at what you're currently eating, and just make sure you're just doing the logical thing. Don't listen to other people. Like, I know it's ironic of me to say I'm some lunatic on the internet, but if somebody's going, oh, fruit is healthy, you know, you can eat as much fruit as you want, it's fine. It's not entirely the case, because fruit can catch you out, just like milk can catch you out. Like, for example, this same scenario about banana, or having 2 extra bananas. Let's say, for example, you have milk in your coffee, or let's say you're a tea drinker. If you're in England, you don't like coffee, and you drink about friggin' 6 or 7 cups of tea, and you have milk and sugar in your tea. That's an extra like 500 calories per day. If you just got rid of that, you would lose a lot of weight. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, the overarching concept for this video is these tiny changes. When you look at yourself in the mirror and you hold yourself accountable, these small things will pop up which you've been getting wrong. And once you can rectify them, because it's about making the small changes. Because if you make large changes, again, you're just going to be in fight or flight for a few weeks. Now, that's absolutely fine if you've got someone like me on your shoulder. But when you're doing this by yourself, it's just about achieving a few small wins for the first couple of weeks. And then once you've established yourself in that kind of space, then you're looking for another couple of things that you can add in to make it a little bit better. If we go back, right, just to how I run things. So week 1, I'm going to get somebody onto an app, right? He's 52-year-old, right? 51-year-old. I'm getting him onto an app, so that's one thing, part of his day, he's absolutely furious about, absolute technophobe. Thing number 2 is eat this meal plan, similar to the one you've just seen there, but obviously to his preferences or whatever, and to his goals. And number 3, I'm getting him to follow a training program. So there's 3 huge things at the start of his longevity program. And that is a big ask, right? 3 big things. But it absolutely blows my mind that somebody would not do the 10% reduction in calories. They would do half that, so they're on about 14, train double what he's training, because he will be training 3 times a week at the start of his program, and add in all sorts of other stuff as well, like stretching and yoga and just all sorts. Just calm yourself down. Think about this journey long term, and it will help massively. That's it, gentlemen. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. The overarching theme: small things can catch you out. Get them right, make the small changes long term, and just do the basics well.